Good morning, everyone. Welcome on in. It is Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. We've reached round 2 of the Wimbledon Championship. Thank you for everyone who's watched our shows. A record week of views, some really high numbers on our shows and lots of subscribers as well, which are a couple of hundred short now of the target of 7,000. And with your help, we'll be able to do that during the Wimbledon Championships. I'm Nigel, Seeley, your host. And joining me is a rather hot and flustered Sean Calvert, our senior ATP Tour handicapper, who was at Wimbledon yesterday. If you've seen him at our socials at Because We Win, you would have seen he had a bit of a tough day on some of the bad beats on the tennis, and obviously the weather made it probably a bit of an unenjoyable experience.
It was horrible. It wasn't pleasant at all. I mean, I think some of the people I said, Annabelle Croft going on, that's the hottest she'd ever known it at Wimbledon. She's seen a few Wimbledons in her time. Probably about the same as me, actually. Yeah, it was just unbearable. It was unbearable yesterday. You know, it wasn't just the heat, but because it was probably about the same temperature yesterday as it was on the really hot days in Mallorca. But it's a different kind of heat. In Britain, it's not pleasant, and you don't have the pool to dive into when you leave the tournament. 5-minute walk, quick bus journey. You're in the pool. Here, you've got another 2.5 hours on the train, packed train to sort of get back. I mean, it was all going on there yesterday. There was paramedics everywhere. I don't know what you saw on the TV, but there were bodies lying all over the place. So many people had keeled over. I know there was a delay in the Alcaraz match, but it was happening everywhere. Everywhere. You couldn't move from one court to the other. I mean, there are quite a few problems anyway. The Wi-Fi is terrible. Even by the bins, it was only like 5 meg. But the problem with that is you've got to leave your seat to then get to the bins to upload a video, which then takes 10 minutes to upload, and then try and get back to your seat, which is kind of impossible unless you've got reserved seats. I mean, I had reserved seats on court 2 yesterday, and they were great seats, to be fair. That's really good. Second row, right behind the players. The downside of that is I got a ringside view of Daniel Medvedev getting beat. I got a ringside view of that, and there were no more men's matches on that court because they all went on so long. I had to watch Keys against Roos. Was it Roos or Ruse? That was about 5 medical timeouts in that. Then there was a Paolini match, and they moved the other match, which was supposed to be on court 2, which was Taylor Fritz, to centre court. So your court 2 ticket holders only had one men's match. I'll tell you what else they've done this year, by the way. If you're thinking of going, they've kind of boxed off the outside courts. In years gone by, you could kind of stand sort of behind the shrubbery and get a really good view of some of the outside courts. They've got rid of that this year. They've put some green wooden fence paneling around the courts, so you can't even see that. So yeah, in short, if you want to watch a match on court 8, 9, 10, whatever, get there about 9 a.m. and do not move. Don't go to the toilet. Stay there for the whole day. Apart from that, it was great.
There you go. If you want to go to Wimbledon, you can follow. He's working for the Wimbledon All England Tennis Club tourist board.
They should be taking on this advice. There's so many problems.
They don't care. They just got all that money coming in. They're not worried about that, are they? They don't worry about your journey. David Beckham was there yesterday. That's all they're worried about.
Was he?
Yeah.
He wasn't on court 2. I can tell you that.
He wasn't watching Medvedev.
He
does watch the show. He said he definitely wasn't by the bins. Half bottles of Magnus floating around in that bin, trying to get the Wi-Fi, trying to get the old Wi-Fi, etc.
I'll tell you what else they do, which is weird. By the bins, that's where the Rose Garden is. I don't want to give my secrets away, but it's near the Rose Garden, and there's like a shop in there. And to buy stuff in the shop now, you have to tap your card, and they charge you £7 before you've even bought anything. And you go in, and you pick up what you want, and you leave with it. And the camera picks up what you've bought and automatically either debits it or adds it to the £7 that you've already spent. It's very weird. So if you want to go in the shop, make sure you got £7 on your debit card, otherwise you're you got problems.
I don't fancy that. It was a bad day for our outright pick. Obviously, Medvedev, as you touched on there, got beat by Bonzi. And obviously, you're betting a 60-1 shot. You would hope he gets past round 1, but it's a 60-1 shot for a reason. But the one that really hurt yesterday was Capriva, wasn't it? Against Jordan Thompson. That was the one that really hurt.
Yeah, and this all happened at the same time. For me personally, I mean, I was sat there. It was boiling hot. Medvedev was kind of involved in a battle, and Capriva was 2 sets up on a court that I couldn't get anywhere near. The only place I managed to watch it actually was the Amex Lounge. I had to queue up for about 45 minutes to get into the Amex Lounge in the full sun. People were keeling over in that queue as well. Once you get in the Amex Lounge, it's got aircon and you can kind of see a lot of the courts. It's not a great view, but you could see it a little bit. And yeah, I'll talk about Thompson again in a few minutes, but yeah, of course, Capriva should have won that match. He was 3.4. He went all the way down to 1.26 and he lost. But that's what happens.
Yeah.
You get two finalists, 40-1 and 20-1 a couple of weeks ago. The downside is you get a couple of round one losers. That's betting, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're going to look at 4 matches for tomorrow. Before we do that, Carlos Alcaraz. I mean, what a match that was. I mean, Fognini rolled back the years with a vintage display.
Yeah.
Alcaraz got the job done. He didn't play at all well, but the market, I mean, the thing that has made me laugh, I mean, we're recording this now on Tuesday morning. He didn't play very well. He started the day at plus 130. He had 5 seeds that gone out in that draw. Medvedev in his half. Medvedev, Rune, Cerundolo, Berrettini, and Tsitsipas. Yeah. He's got 2 seeds that are in a bit of a
Fritz
fight.
should have lost yesterday.
Fritz. He's got Fritz in a fight. He's got Zverev in a battle as well, and he's drifted out to plus 142. And now I understand he didn't play well, but he doesn't play well at the start. Tom, it takes his time to get involved. I know there was, but Fognini was inspired. He was very nervous in that match, but with those 5 seeds out the way, his path to the finals got easier, and he's got a big price. I bet Alcaraz this morning at plus 142. I thought it was too big.
I agree. It doesn't make much sense. I mean, the Alcaraz match, I didn't really see it, but Fognini, I've bet him so many times over the years. He couldn't even take a set off Jacob Fernley in Rome, could he? And he's come in and played great. I think the problem with Fognini now is because he's so old, he's often injured. And when he is injured, you don't know when he's injured and when he's not injured. So, yeah, it was a difficult one. But you're right, it's a strange one. I mean, Fritz should have lost yesterday. He was 5-1 down in the 4th set tiebreak, wasn't he? I didn't actually see that. I don't know what happened, but I imagine Pechi Pericard probably choked it a bit from the look of that. So Fritz could have gone out. It was just mayhem yesterday. But this happened last year with Alcaraz, didn't it? I said in the preview show, he didn't play well at all at Wimbledon last year up until the final, really. He could have been beat by TFO. I talked about this before. This is how he plays sometimes. He raises his level when he has to. A lot of his sort of general play isn't that great at times. But he did it again. He raised his level. But yeah, I agree with you. In short, yeah, plus 142. Surely that's a better bet now than it was.
Yeah.
Plus, what was he? Plus 110 or something the other day?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he went down. He was plus 130. But I mean, his next round he plays that Tarvit, the kid that I highlighted on the show. I mean, he played really well.
You should have put that in. He should play.
Well, you're the man that does it. He's got to play Tarvit. Then he's got to play Struff or Felix Auger-Aliassime, and then Rublev. I mean, then he's in the quarterfinals. I mean, I'd be amazed if Carlos Alcaraz doesn't contract if he puts a good performance in against the Brit on Thursday. Then I'm sure he will shorten even more. But anyway,
I guess it'll be Wednesday.
Head to the Britain's website.
Thursday.
It
might be Thursday.
It's Thursday. We're playing Thursday, won't it? These matches are Wednesday. Alcaraz will be playing. No, it'll be Wednesday, won't it? Alcaraz will be playing Wednesday. Sorry. Head to the BetRivers website. Look at the outright market as well. It's been a disaster on the women's draw as well. Jessica Pegula, our pick as well, she's gone out in the first round as well. So we've had an absolute disaster.
It was mayhem.
On the outright market.
To be fair, sorry, mate. It was. I mean, look at the results yesterday. It was absolute carnage, and a lot of that I think was to do with the heat. It's
definitely.
You can't really legislate for who's going to do well and who isn't. Like Jordan Thompson, I'll talk about him at length in a minute. He should never have won that match. Capriva should not have let him win that match, but he did. But there are other ones that faded in the heat, which some of them you would expect, some of them you wouldn't.
Thankfully, tomorrow the heat drops, so we're back to sort of a much better, a lot. So you want to go through the conditions and give us the weather forecast for Wednesday?
Yeah, just briefly, it's just going to be a lot cooler. It's going to be about 22, 23 degrees, and there's a possibility of rain. Now, that's more like a British summertime sort of day, isn't it? Sort of mid to sort of low 20s, some rain in the forecast. Bit windy as well. I think it's going to be 13-mile-an-hour winds. That could be an issue as well, but like a good 10, 11, 12 degrees cooler than it has been on the first couple of days. So yeah, conditions a lot easier for the players for sure.
Now, we mentioned him a couple of times already in the show, Jordan Thompson. He opens up our betting preview for the second round against Benjamin Bonzi. 2 players that cost us yesterday. Jordan Thomas obviously beat Caprifa, which is our match bet, and Benjamin Bonzi obviously knocked out our tournament winner selection, Daniel Medvedev. Now, you were at that match, the Bonzi match. I saw your Instagram post. You thought he played exceptionally well, Bonzi, and thoroughly deserved it.
He did.
He's up against a player that has got injury concerns in Thompson. I know he fought back there, but the price is quite generous, minus 148, plus 118 for Jordan Thompson. Spread is 1.5, and total here is 39.5. Thompson's obviously come through a 5-set match, and you usually want to fade someone through 5-set match, especially in that heat. And he had an injury concern coming into this tournament. Bonzi's had the big win. You want to fade people when he on the back of a big win. I mean, I looked at this odds this morning and I thought Bonzi had to be a bet on the money line and maybe even on the spread. I don't know if you're the way of thinking, but
yes.
You watch these both firsthand. How are you seeing this one?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Capriva should have beaten Thompson, no doubt. He's minus, he's 1.26. That's about minus $4, isn't it, in play? 2 sets up. Should have won set 4. He was well ahead on the stats in set 4. Capriva played an awful tie break, ended up, and that cost him. Thompson's nowhere near fit. I mean, the great thing about Thompson and most of the Australians is they're very honest in their interviews. I've got a good long quote from him here. After the match, he said, "I feel pretty, to be honest. I mean, it's tough. I haven't practiced. I've been injured. I haven't played many tournaments. I haven't played at 100% this year. So I can't say I'm enjoying it too much. I'm taking painkillers, anti-inflammatories. I'm just trying to do everything, but sometimes they can't really help in these instances. I'm just lucky to be out on the court, even though I'm not enjoying it as much as I would like to. I love competing. I love running around. I love getting the balls that I probably shouldn't. And I can't do that at the moment. And it's extremely frustrating to watch balls go past me that I'm not even close to because I can't move." So
how do we lose that from 2 sets to up then? That's
Capriva is, as I said in the preview of this match, I wouldn't normally back Capriva against Thompson, all things being equal, because he's a bit of a grinder, Capriva, a bit of a clay man. Not the biggest of weapons, but very, very solid. And it was based on physicality. And if I tell you what Jordan Thompson's had this season alone, 2025, he's had plantar fascia issues, a groin tear, an oblique strain, another abdominal issue, a herniated disc in his back, and now he's got a sacroiliac problem, which is the sort of lower back and the hip. That's just this season, the problems that he's had. So that tells you 2 things. Number 1, Capriva should have beat him. Number 2, Bonzi should be beating him with something to spare if he plays similar-ish to the way he did against Medvedev, because he was great. I would have enjoyed that had I not been on Medvedev on the outright. So I would have really enjoyed that performance because it was great. He was serving over 135 mile an hour, around about 134, 35 accurately. And he won 69% of his second serve points against Medvedev. Now, Medvedev's another good one for a quote, as you know. He said, after the match, "I was supposed to play Bonzi or Halis in Halle. I watched their match. Bonzi couldn't hit 2 balls in a row. If he plays like he did today, he's already in the 4th round," is what Medvedev said. And Bonzi's come in there, and I talk quite regularly about the service points won and return points won totals. He was 113 to 87, Bonzi. If you don't take my word for it, just look at the stats. That's how good of a winner he was against Medvedev. Medvedev only won 25% of return points, and that's a strong suit for him. Medvedev would normally be, winning a lot more than that. It just shows you how well Bonzi was serving. So anything like that, even sort of 75, 80% of that, should be enough for him to beat what's left of Jordan Thompson. So I think in this one, I'm going to take Bonzi minus 1.5 sets. He should be winning this 3-0, 3-1. He shouldn't be extended to 5 sets here. So plus 133, that is a Bet Rivers Bonzi to win minus 1.5 sets.
So that is a Bonzi win 3-0, 3-1. Plus 133 at Bet Rivers. 29 different markets available now. There'll be loads more. There'll be more Wimbledon markets with Bet Rivers than any other sportsbook across America. I'm sure of that. And if you want to watch the match, you have a place to bet. You'll be able to watch it on the live stream the match on your tablet or your mobile device. Let's move on to our second match. Nicolas Jarry against Tien. Now, obviously, Nicolas Jarry come through an epic match in the last round to beat Holgerun in 5 sets. Tien come through a much easier match against Bazavaredi. The head-to-head is 1-0 to Jarry. Jarry did beat him this year in Halle on grass, 6-3, 6-4. So that's a sort of a recent match that you might want to take note of, being it's on grass and recently. The line here is a favourite for Jarry, -159, plus 128 Learner Tien, spread 1.5, total actually very high, 41.5 with over -109, under 41.5 is -117. The build-up for this match has seen quite a big move towards the Chilean, lots of money for Jarry, but that is unusual, isn't it, Sean, when you come on the back of a 5-set win, and a big win as well against Holger, and usually the market wants to oppose you, but the market's strong on Jarry here.
I'm not totally sure why that is. To be honest, I'm not at all convinced about Nicolas Jarry on grass. I mean, Holger Rune should have beaten him on Monday, but Rune got yet another injury. Well, he said it was an injury. I mean, it was pretty hot. But he said he had a knee problem. He was 2 sets to love up, Rune. I've got another great quote here, which is quite funny from Holger Rune. He said, normally I would have beaten him 9 times out of 10, with all due respect. So I wouldn't say that was a great deal of respect personally, but he said he would have beat, I should beat this guy 9 times out of 10. He was 2 sets to love up. Had he not had that knee injury, he probably would have won that match and won it pretty comfortably. So that's the recent form out the window, as far as I'm concerned, with Jarry. He was very fortunate to win that match. The head-to-head is more relevant, but there are reasons, and it's interesting that head-to-head. Jarry, as you said, beat Tien in Halle, but it's much, much quicker in Halle than it is at Wimbledon. And it was only Tien's 3rd ever career match of any description on the grass. And Jarry played an absolutely perfect match that day. And Tien was a little bit off. Tien hit 8 double faults in 2 sets, but still won 60% of his second serve points. There were only 2 break points in that match, both to Jarry, and he took them both. That's not going to be happening again this time. Tien is much more. He's more accustomed and more attuned to the grass than he was then. He's beaten Ben Shelton and Justin Engel, who can both serve very big. He's just beaten them on the grass. Beat Shelton in straight sets in Mallorca. Tien's he's used to the grass. He played a lot of doubles as well with Alex Mickelson. He's serving bigger. He's playing more aggressively now than we saw him at the start. And people would have seen him at the start of the year at the Australian Open. They probably saw him against Medvedev in the match they played there, the really long match they played there. He's more aggressive now for me, certainly on the grass anyway. And Jarry's record at Wimbledon is not great, and it's not surprising. He doesn't move that well. It's a low bouncing surface. It's not great when you're 6'6" or whatever he is. His record is 4 wins, 5 losses. Service points won and return points won, total of 99.7. It's all right, but it's not frightening. And his service stats aren't that frightening either. 84% holds, pretty good. 75% first serve points won, again, pretty good. Not frightening though. You wouldn't look at them serve stats and think, no chance. They're not that great stats. The other interesting factor is obviously that Tien's a lefty, and Jarry against left-handers away from clay in his career, so on hard and grass, he's only won 30.5% of return points. So he's got a problem on return against lefties. He's lost, obviously, on the grass courts. If we ignore that room match, he's already lost a Hanfman. Apelka beat him. He was very lucky to beat Darderi as well in Rosmal, and Darderi should have won that. And Leonard Tien should have learned, if you will, a lot from that Halle meeting. This isn't the first meeting. He knows what to do now. He just looks a nice price to turn it around. They're putting him in here, Tien, at the same price he was in Halle when he'd only played 3 grass matches in his life. Now he's much more experienced. I'm happy to take a chance on the dog here, plus 128.
Yeah, I think that people are looking at the result, just seeing the result, recent grass court match, and thinking, he's got he's beaten a seed, but that doesn't usually a good thing. Long matches and beaten seeds doesn't usually help you out in the next round. Let's move on to our penultimate match, and this is an interesting one because I like this price on Billy Harris here. Billy Harris, the Brit, is plus 138. It was a brilliant day for the Brits yesterday. 7 of the Brits won, which was the best ever performance from the Brits at Wimbledon. And Billy Harris had a good win over Zuzan Lajovic. Obviously, Lajovic isn't a grass court player. He's a clay courter, out-and-out player. He's up against Nuno Borges, who up until yesterday had never won a match at Wimbledon. He beat Surundalo, who clearly wasn't at his best, winning the final set 6-love here. But I think he's got a great chance here, Billy Harris. Billy Harris is a player that's moving up in the rankings. He's a player that has got some exceptional grass court ability over the years, and he's been a bit disrespected in the prices here with Bet Rivers. You can bet him at plus 138, minus 175 for Borges. Borges played 3 matches on grass last year and didn't win 1 match. 2.5 is the spread, and total here is 40.5. Billy Harris, I like him. I went with the Brit before, Harvard. I thought he had a good chance. I like this price on Billy Harris here at plus 138.
Yeah, it's not a great price on Nuno Borges, that's for sure. He was another beneficiary of maybe the heat. I don't know. It was certainly a bit of a tank in the end from Francisco Cerundolo on Monday. After losing the 3rd set tiebreak, he pretty much cashed his chips in. Cerundolo, he was done. And he's lost his last 6 matches on grass now, Cerundolo. Didn't win any last season. Hasn't won any this season. Not going to win any this season. So he's kind of, I did say a few shows back that he was very fortunate to win that Eastbourne title that he did win a couple of years ago. He's not won a match since on this surface. And Borges does not have a great record on grass either. The slight worry is that if you bet in Harris, the slight worry for me is that he might be improving, Borges, having not played that often on grass. But Harris's record it's identical actually in terms of service points won and return points won totals, but he's got a much, much better win rate, Harris. Borges, just a 25% win rate. Service points won and return points won total of 98, as I say, at main level on grass. Harris, 60% win rate and the same total. The interesting thing about this is that those stats, should I say, is that both men only win 33% and 32% of return points. So they're not doing anything much on return. I am slightly tempted by Harris at plus 138. I just think that the longer format might play into Borges' hands. If this was best of 3 at like Queens or Eastbourne or somewhere, then I would probably bet Harris if he was plus 130. Yeah, I'm just worried that the longer format, the best of 5 sets, it does tend to suit that. Obviously, the more accomplished player, which you would have to say is Borges, but I would probably go overs. I think this is going to be a really, really long battle. Borges isn't going to give this up easily. Harris certainly isn't. Over 40.5 games would be probably where I'd go here at minus 111 with Bet Rivers. I certainly wouldn't bet Borges at minus 175, that's for sure.
Yeah, minus 40.5, over 40.5 games, minus 111 with Bet Rivers. There is we're covering 4 matches here. There's obviously a full card with all the different bets available on the Bet Rivers website tomorrow. We're only highlighting the best bets that we feel here. But I like another Brit tomorrow. I like Arthur Ferry to beat Darderi, even money.
That's possible. That'll be an absolute grind as well, the way those two play. There's no big shots on display there. It'll be a real solid display of like variety and craft. That'll be an interesting match, that will.
Yeah, I quite like the even money for the Brit there as well to beat Darderi. I don't fancy the Darderi on grass, and I think Ferry is again should be the favourite in my opinion. I think it'll be a good day for the Brits.
I think I said a couple of shows ago, he has been a little unlucky on the grass. He's lost a lot of tight matches to good players.
He's lost them though. He's only won 5 matches. Billy Harris, even money. Pims
Ferry,
on Thursday. Ferry, I'm having Ferry. Yeah.
You said Billy Harris.
Oh, so Ferry, sorry. Arthur Ferry. Arthur Ferry is someone that is going to France half full. Arthur Ferry. That's what
Arthur Ferry, yeah.
Going from Dover to Calais, Arthur Ferry.
Yeah, I wouldn't put, the problem I've got with that is there's very limited stats that I've got for Ferry. But I just think that'll be an absolute grind as well. I think that'll be another very, very long match. The crowd might get him over the line. Yeah, that's a distinct possibility, yeah.
Our final match where we do have an opinion on is Andrey Rublev up against Lloyd Harris. Lloyd Harris was, if you watched the show, Sean made a very, very good case for Lloyd Harris. I think didn't make him an official play, but he made a very, good lean for you if you wanted to get involved. Yeah, overs, and Harris was the bet as well. He did the business for you if you took. I know a couple of people tweeted me yesterday and said they backed Harris, so well done if you did. In his win over Zizou Bergs, Rublev come through against Laszlo Jarry. Started off pretty fairly comfortably, and it all went a little bit tight. You also said over the games in there as well, so a couple of leans that would have cashed. This one here sees Rublev at minus 335, at plus 255 for Lord Harris, who loves his surface, who comes around this time of year. Spread is 4.5. The total here is 39.5. They have met 3 times previously, including the French Open this year, where Rublev won 3-1. They also met in Wimbledon in 2021 at this exact stage. and Rublev won 6-1, 6-2, 7-5. So a very easy win for Rublev. But Rublev has had the best of years. He's not playing that great. He's a bit temperamental. And as you said before, I think it was you sort of looked at Rublev's record, and overs seem to be a popular bet when he plays in the majors.
Yeah, but particularly this one, Wimbledon, pretty much all his, I can't remember what I said exactly, but I think it was the vast majority of his matches, he didn't win in straight sets. And that was, again, the same, against Jarry. I thought that one could go long. I wasn't thinking that after 6-love in the first set to Rublev. I was thinking that's a mistake, but it ended up being the match that I thought it was going to be, 3 tie breaks in the next 3 sets. And the Harrisburg's one, again, was kind of ended up similar to what I said. This might be more of the same. I mean, just going back to the Bergs, I said he's having problems with his serve. Yesterday, Bergs, 17 double faults and 49% first serves in play. So his serving woes have continued, and those people that took the lean on that, obviously a few of them would have cashed on the overs or took Harris. This looks like a long one as well. I mean, Harris took a set off Rublev on clay at the French Open. And Harris is not a clay man by any means. Quick, low bouncing conditions would be perfect for him. Harris did have a struggle to adapt, actually, to grass when he first started playing on it. That match that you mentioned, the Wimbledon match that Rublev won pretty easy. Harris was very inexperienced on grass back in those days, and he was constantly talking about how he was struggling with the movement, the slipping and the sliding. And on the other side of the coin, Rublev had just made the Halle final and was number 7 in the world. So very different situation now to what it was. Rublev, he's looking very nervy, and he's talked about his mental health and the problems he has with the depression and the anxiety and all this sort of stuff, and talking about what he's been doing with it. It doesn't seem to have done that much for him so far. Hopefully it will, but he just looks very stressed a lot of the time in his matches still. Almost made a mess of it against Jarry. Very, very nearly went to 5 sets that match. And, Harris, when he is fit, which he isn't often, when he is fit, he's a handful, as I said. Against Bergs, he hit 23 aces. He was serving at 140 mile an hour plus. But weirdly, Bergs still had 14 breakpoint chances. Harris still had a very similar amount, 13 or 14 break chances. Probably shows you that it's, not the quickest at Wimbledon as usual, but yeah, I mean, with those weapons, 140 mile an hour first serves and his forehand as well. I mean, the backhand is the issue, I think, with Harris. Rublev's going to look to try and isolate that wing. And if he does it successfully, he'll probably win this match. But the other head-to-head isn't worthy of much either. 6-3, 6-love to Rublev in the Adelaide final way back in 2020. You got to think about the situation there, because Harris was exhausted that day. He'd played the first round of qualifying to get to that final. So he'd played 6 matches before the final. And Rublev, because he was seeded, he only played 3 matches and he was in the final. So not surprising that Harris was a bit tired. So that, a couple of these head-to-heads with these two, they're perhaps not worthy of just looking at the bare result. You've got to look a bit deeper into it than that. Again, I think overs here. I think, Harris, if he's serving those bombs, wins probably 1 tie break, that, the rest of the set's reasonably close. That should bring in over 39.5 games. I think that's probably where I would go here. Minus 106 of Bet Rivers. I could see this being probably a win for Rublev, but another struggle.
Yeah. Over 39.5 games actually moved to minus 117 currently with Bet Rivers on the overs. They're heading across to the Bet Rivers app for the latest odds. You get them all updated there. We're just under 10 points of profit on the show, just over 9 points of profit on the show after a bit of a poor day yesterday, but obviously plenty of time to bounce back. 9.95 units of profit. There's the 4 matches. What's your official play, Sean?
Yeah, I'm going to take a chance on Learner Tien as underdog. I think he was 2.38, was he? 2.28, 2.38, something like that.
Plus 128.
Yeah, okay, 2.28 plus 128, yeah. So take him to beat Nicolas, Jarry, and I'm going to take a chance on Bonzi to reproduce the stunning level of yesterday, or at least some of it. Bonzi minus 1.5 sets to beat Jordan Thompson, plus 133 with Bet Rivers, so a couple of plus money plays there.
Yeah, if you like, follow me. I'm Brit Alert. I'm usually anti-Brits, but I'm Brit Alert. Arthur Ferry. It's not not a packed cruising across the English Channel from Calais to Dover. That's his name,
Brian's
Arthur
son.
Ferry. I think Brian's son. I think he's what was Brian's? What was their famous song? Brian
He was
Ferry's
in
famous
Roxy
song.
Music, wasn't he?
What was their favourite song?
I don't know. I can't remember. This is more your stuff
Avalon
than me.
is one of them. I think he's got a really famous song. I can't remember his name. So anyway, make sure you get a head across to the Bet Rivers website to get all the different prices we have on there. I'm trying to look for Roxy
Jealous
Music
Guy?
songs.
Wasn't that one of his?
Jealous Guy, that is it. I'll be a very jealous guy if Arthur Ferry doesn't win. I was trying to find a gag with Jealous Guy. That is it. I didn't mean to disappoint you, Sean. But anyway, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Betting Weekly Studios. Give us a follow on our socials at Because We Win. Loads of content coming your way. Betting Weekly Tennis Live every day, Monday to Wednesday, giving you all the in-play. Huge amount of you watched the show yesterday with myself and Mitch Michaels. We gave you some winners there in play. Myself and Sean will be back tomorrow. I think we've had there are a record number of views across our content so far for Wimbledon. And if you want more content, you're going to have to stay with us throughout the fortnight and hit that subscribe button because it's going to be coming thick and fast. Hopefully, we put yesterday's disappointments to bed and move on with some winners tomorrow as well. So good luck with your bet, Sean. Take care.
You.
Thankfully, tomorrow in the UK, it's going to be a lot cooler. I'm sweating sitting here. It's absolutely boring. I can open my window again now. Have a good day. Enjoy the tennis. Make sure you download the app at Bet Rivers and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care.